Hey two-wheel adventurers, this is my new bike, a 2024 Beta RR480. Now you might have already seen it on the channel, but I'm here today to take you in for a closer look, as well as answer some questions I've had from all of you around why I chose this bike and what my plans are for it into the future. Let's go take a look. Well, two-wheel adventurers, as you would have just seen in a lot of that drone footage, I'm having an absolute blast out here in this little playground area. So much fun, sandy little tracks, ruts to dodge. So much fun out here on the 480. I did promise at the start that I would run through why I bought this specific bike and what my plans are for it into the future. So let's get into all of that. So I'll run through some of the key points of why I bought this actual 2024 Beta RR480. Now the first big thing, guys, is the price. Obviously price is a massive point when buying a bike for everyone. You want to try and save your money and make it go a little bit further. So for me, I got a pretty sweet deal on this thing because it is a 2024 model. There are some 2025 models that Beta has just brought out. There's a few little differences, but overall for someone like me, I'm not really going to notice those differences. So to save a few dollars there and get the run out model, that was a good reason. And also with the price, guys, I'm comparing this thing sort of to your KTM 500s, your Husky FE 501s, those sort of bikes, and you got the Sherco 500 as well. All of those ones are a couple more grand than the Beta 480. I guess you do get a few more CCs out of it, but really they're all very, very similar. So price definitely was a big factor. Secondly, guys, the looks of the bike. I don't know what you guys think, but I really like the look of the Beta bike here. I really like their 2025 models as well, but as I said, I saved a few dollars on this one. So overall, I'm a really big fan of the look of the bike, so that drew me towards it as well. But obviously looks are personal preference, so everyone's different, but for me, I think this thing looks amazing. So the third thing that made me buy this bike, guys, is a little bit of a point of difference for me. So you've got your KTM 500s and your Husky 501s. Those things are out there on YouTube. A lot of people have done their lightweight adventure bike builds. So I just wanted to be a little bit different and try the Beta. Now I know I'm not the first person to probably build a lightweight adventure setup on a 480, but I thought I'd give it a go myself and see if I can do it justice. But that was one of the reasons. The KTMs, the Huskies, they've been done to death on YouTube. So I thought I'd bring something different to the viewers and hopefully you guys get something out of this bike build. And one of the last things that made me choose this Beta, guys, I was really considering a Sherco very hard because that was a point of difference there as well, apart from the Huskies and the KTMs. But the reason I've gone over to the Beta, guys, is because it has two separate oil compartments on this bike. So if you didn't know, its gearbox and its engine oil are both separate. I think it's around 750, 800 mil in each. So you got about 1.5 litres of oil on board with this thing. So that's a little bit more oil overall compared to your KTM and your Husky 500s. I think they're around 1.2 litres. Don't quote me exactly, but this thing does hold a little bit more oil. So there is potential for this thing's service intervals to push out a little bit further, having those separate oil chambers there. So that was a really big factor of why I went to this thing. Now, while I was considering the Sherco, I tried to look for some clutch covers that you can put on. I know you can put on some bigger ones on the KTM and the Husky, so you can carry a little bit more oil. I'm not sure how much that adds, but I tried to look for the Sherco to see if they had that option, but I couldn't find anyone who had one, or there was a couple there, but they didn't state how much extra oil it added. So that's what drew me to the Beta, guys. Two separate compartments there, so technically I should be able to push out those service intervals a little bit further. Not that I'm going to stretch it too far on this thing with what I want to do with it, but that was a big factor of why I bought the big 480. Now, guys, that's what brought me to buy the Beta 480. But what do I want to do with this bike? Now, it's got to fill a couple of gaps for me. Obviously, there's no unicorn bike out there, guys, but when I look at buying a bike, most of the time it's going to be for a couple of different jobs. Not one bike can do everything great. So the reason I got this thing, guys, mainly is to build it into a lightweight adventure bike. Now, it's not going to replace my DRZ by any means. The DRZ can do pretty much everything. Not great, but can do everything. But this thing is not going to be a mile munching machine like the DRZ. This isn't going to be something I'm going to jump on and ride halfway across the country and across the Simpson Desert. It's just not designed for that. This thing for me, guys, the way I'm going to build it is going to be more designed to chuck in the back of the ute, drive to a certain area, unload the bike, and then I can ride out for a couple of days. Now, secondly, guys, I want this bike to be quick and easy to chuck in the ute and go to a sort of enduro event, some sort of off-road events, things like your Transmotos, stuff like that. Nothing super hard enduro wise, because obviously the 480, a big 500cc, is a bit of overkill for hard enduro, but I just want it to be an easy option to throw in the ute, go to an event like a Transmoto, ride for the weekend, and come back from there. So you would have seen my other video on this that I first took it out. It was a RTCB enduro ride. Most of it was slow going, but the bike still did it, so it can do that job for me as well. Now finally guys, what I want to do with this bike, I wasn't going to mention this in here because it's something I've been dreaming of, thinking of for a little while now, and I didn't want to throw it out there because it's basically just a thought at this point. But I'd love to get into a little bit more rally style riding, like your rally racing. Obviously I'm not a racer by any stretch, I'm not the best rider, but I would love to compete in some of those things just for a bit of fun, see how I go. So I feel like this bike could be a good option to do things like that. That's what I had in my head, guys. I've dreamt of things like that for many years, and while I'm young enough to do stuff like that, I think I'm going to try and figure out a way that I can get into those things and try and do a little bit of rally style riding in some events and just see how I go. Out there for a bit of fun. I don't expect to win anything, but we're all out here for some fun. So that is the third and final thing that this bike is going to be set up for me to do. So a few different things there that I want the bike to do. As I said, I want to build it to be a lightweight adventure bike, but I don't want to go overboard with the mods. I want it to be easy to take off and switch it between the different things that I want to do with the bike. So guys, let's talk mods. What mods am I going to do to the bike now and into the future? Well, the first step I want to do, guys, is pretty much just protection on the bike. I want to protect it the best I can so it doesn't get destroyed out on the trails. So first thing I've been looking at is getting a bit of a graphics kit done and full new plastics as well, so I can keep these ones safe in the shed for if I do sell the bike one day, and it'll have a fresh new set to go on there. So that's what I'm looking at. Not sure what I'm going to get yet, but that is something first up on the list. And then obviously protection wise, I want to get a decent bash plate on there. I want to get some engine covers to cover up the casings on either side, your clutch and your engine cover either side there to protect those. Just a bunch of little different protection things that I can put on the bike. Some radiator guards will be something as well. So that is step number one, guys. Now included in that protection stuff, sort of a preventative measure, something I want to do. It's pretty common with beta owners to do this mod, but there is some plastic gears in the oil pump on this bike, and beta states they've got to be changed every 90 hours, but those things could go, I guess. They could break, and then you pretty much can't ride the bike if those gears break. So there is a mod that people do. You can buy some metal gears to replace those plastic ones. So that'll be something I do pretty early on to change those over and not have to worry about the plastic gears destroying themselves and being stranded out on the trail. So that's included in the first sort of step for the bike. So the second stage for mods, guys, would be sort of to adventurize the bike. Things like the soft luggage on the back, I'll probably look towards Krieger. I've used that on my other bikes and haven't had a drama, so Krieger might be the way to go. We'll see what we do with that. I also want to get a handlebar bag up on the front here. I'm not planning to run a tank bag on this bike. As you can see how it is like that, probably not really going to work, and I want to be able to get up on the front of this thing so I can ride it well. So a handlebar bag there for all my little bits and pieces, and then some soft luggage on the back, just some small bags, nothing bigger than the 12-litre bags that I've already got for some camping possibly, but just some smaller bags to carry some tools, some tubes, things like that. From there, we'll see how this seat goes. Today on a few sections it has felt a little bit firm on the road, so I think for a multi-day adventure that seat may have to switch out. I don't know what for yet. Maybe Seat Concepts have a version that I could get. And obviously, guys, I'm going to want a bigger fuel tank. I've looked at a few different ones. There is a massive one that comes out here and sort of follows the lines of the plastics here, but I don't really want that one. I can't remember the exact litres of it. I think it might be up around the 17-litre mark, but I don't think I want that much fuel on board this thing. There is another Acerbis brand tank that sort of fits inside here but comes up a bit higher at the front here. I think it's around 12 litres. So that might be all I want to carry on this thing for the rides I want to do, but we'll see how it goes in stock tank form, stock seat form, but those two things will probably be something I'll do down the track. The only things I've done to the bike so far is I've added this Krieger grab handle here up on the front if I get stuck, but there's no one else here to grab it today. And then I've just done a little bit of a tail tidy here and moved the blinkers in just to make it look a bit neater there for the number plate. But other than that, she's in stock form, looking good. But anyway, guys, that is my 2024 Beta RR 480. I've had a ripper time out here this morning. It's time for me to start making my way back to the car and head home before it gets too hot. But hopefully that answers a bunch of your questions, guys, that I've been getting about the new bike, of what I'm going to do with it, do I like it, etc, etc. So far so good. I'm absolutely loving the thing, as you can tell. If you got any questions, guys, please leave them down below in the comments. If you got any suggestions on things I should do to the bike, if you've got one of these guys, let me know down below as well. I'm always happy to hear from you guys and get some advice on these things. But time for me to go, guys. Bit more fun to get back to the car, so I'm going to enjoy it. Ride safe out there on your own two-wheel adventures, guys. See you in the next one.